Former interim UFC lightweight champion Tony Ferguson has been medically cleared to return to action. Chael, what should the UFC do with Ferguson now that he's ready to fight?
Yeah, so Ariel, there's really only two schools of thought here, right? You've got the first school of thought, which is Tony was the world champion. Tony competitively never lost that championship, so he should get a pickup right where he left off, which is a world title fight. The other argument is, look, he's been out for a little bit. We don't know just how good this leg is. Instead of throwing him into the wolves, let's bring him back a little bit slower. I think ultimately the decider in this is Tony. But there's a little bit more of a problem, Ariel, which is if you're going to go and put him into a title fight, that means he's out for a meaningful period of time, considering the title in his weight class is going to be contested next on October 6th with McGregor versus Khabib. By the time those guys get some recovery, particularly if it's Conor, all of the speculation of will he come back, when will he come back, we know from history he doesn't fight very often. If it's Khabib, I mean, is that really something that you want to do if you're Tony Ferguson and you make your living by weighing in and walking out there competing? I'm going to guess not. I'm going to guess that he wants to be active. So what do you do with him? I'm a little bit at a loss here. I would like to see him put in what we call the bullpen. We're seeing the same thing happen with Kamaru Usman, where he is going to weigh in and potentially would step in to face either Woodley or Till if one of those guys had a reason that they couldn't make the walk to the ring. I'd like to see him put in that spot for two reasons. One, it forces him to be in training camp. Two, it comes with a little bit of a payday. And I just don't think, knowing the finances of a fighter, a guy that's been out for a year is going to be able to wait for the correct opportunity. And Ariel, the correct opportunity for Tony Ferg is a world title slot.
I agree with that, Chael, but isn't that kind of a waste? Like, don't you want him to fight? What if both guys actually make it to the fight? What if Conor and Khabib actually fight on October 6th? Now you just wasted a training camp, and the guy's left without a fight. Now it'll be even more than a year since his last fight. So isn't that kind of a waste?
Well, who would you suggest? I say it's not a waste in this regard. I think that you're a little bit up against it on this with the two schools of thought. I think he deserves a title fight, but more importantly, you have to consider the finances. I would like to see him get paid and go through the training camp. So no, it is not a total waste to go through the training camp and be in the gym and not actually have to walk out there rounds 1 through 3.
Okay, so let me offer you this one, and I'm going to give a tip, a hat tip, if you will, to a fellow Canadian, Aaron Bronstetter, a reporter for TSN, our sister station up in Canada, and he threw this out, and I loved it. Georges St-Pierre wants to fight the winner of Conor versus Khabib. We've talked about this before. Well, if you want the winner of Conor versus Khabib, why not Georges St-Pierre versus Tony Ferguson? #1 contender fight. They need a big fight for Madison Square Garden. Put it on that card. Allow Tony. No? You're not feeling this, Chael? Come on. I want to see Chael falling asleep on the screen. How do you not like this? It's a great idea.
Of course I love what you're saying, but when we're talking about good ideas, we have to operate within what is possible to happen. Tony Ferguson does not have a world championship right now. If there's no world championship, there is no Georges St-Pierre. It's as simple as that. Yes, do I love the idea? You got it. Does it make sense if you're trying to build that fight up? You got it. But let's also not mislead anybody. Georges St-Pierre is saying he wants the winner of Khabib and Conor. What Georges St-Pierre means is, I will fight Conor should he beat Khabib.
I don't know about that. Look, George is a smart guy. And as Matisse Yahoo once said, king without a crown, right? That's Tony Ferguson. He's the king without a crown. That's the guy you need to beat to get to the title fight, the big title fight, the money fight, if you will. So the UFC could cut him a deal. Look, you vacated the welterweight title. You vacated the middleweight title. You really want this Conor fight? Get by this guy, and then you could get the Conor fight. Everyone wins there. They tried to make the Nate Diaz versus GSP fight. Didn't work out. George wasn't interested because he didn't see a lot of upside there, and Nate has double-digit losses. But to me, Tony Ferguson, what happened to him in 2018 is heartbreaking. This guy should never have been stripped. He should never have lost his interim title. Why did he lose? GSP? Are we calling George right now? Because I could call him too, Chael. I could play that game too. Where's my phone? You want me to call him? I bet he answers
Errol, I'm not doing this to... Excuse me, I'm not doing this to rub this in your face. I just think that we both do understand George well enough to know what it is that makes him tick, and it is a title fight. And as far as you're saying call him, I mean, I do think it's as simple as that.
Who will he answer first? Right, like if it's me versus you, head-to-head phone battle, who does he answer first? Oh. Did it go straight
I
to
have
voicemail
no
for
idea
you?
what that voicemail said. It was in French Canadian. But Ariel, I do want to make this point for you and our fans. Listen, let's not believe that George is going to come in and save the day. George has not fought in a non-championship fight since I can remember. I'd have to go back and look, but I think it was since 2002. Listen, George is not looking for a Tony Ferguson fight, and that isn't meant to be a slide on Tony Ferguson, but you know that as well. He's also not looking to cut down to 155 pounds unless it's all on the line. And I'm talking about legacy,
George,
I'm
how's it
talking about
going?
money, and I'm talking about championship.
Toronto, baby.
Oh, you're in Toronto? Oh, wait. My connection is... Can I call you right back? Okay, one sec. I'll call you back.
Disclose that this is being recorded, genius.
Hey, I just won the phone face-off. How about that? Yours went straight to voicemail.
I have to tell you, I'm actually very impressed.
Wow. How about that? I just won the phone face-off with Georges St-Pierre. Guess who he likes more?
For more Ariel and the Bad Guy, sign up now for ESPN Plus.